and makes nonsense of these core values of citizenship. My fellow countrymen and women, you may recall that as part of the Operation Recover All Loot agenda of His Excellency President John Dramani Mahama, a comprehensive report on acts of malfeasance, looting of state resources, and corruption by public officers was compiled and submitted to my office in February this year. I was tasked by the President to thoroughly investigate and prosecute allegations contained in the oral report, and to prosecute any persons found to have engaged in acts of criminality involving the looting of state resources and or deliberately or recklessly causing the state to lose such resources. The now famous National Service scandal, which was first uncovered by the Fourth Estate through its investigative journalism, formed a major plank of the oral report. My office is extremely grateful to the Fourth Estate for the excellent foundational work that they did. In my last press briefing held on March 24, 2025, I made clear that investigations into the National Service scandal were almost concluded, and that I will return with a detailed update on the investigations and the decision of my office regarding criminal charges against all persons suspected to have been involved in the looting of state resources. I am here today, ladies and gentlemen, my fellow countrymen and women, to announce that I have received the dockets compiled by diligent and hard-working investigators at the National Intelligence Bureau, popularly known as NIB, formerly BNI. The dockets were compiled under close supervision by my office, led by my able Deputy Attorney General, the Honorable Dr. Justice Srimsai. Ladies and gentlemen, in or around February 2022, the management of the National Service Authority announced the introduction of a digitalization system which they claimed had saved the country some 112 million Ghana cedis. Through an app known as the Metric app, which allegedly combined facial recognition technology and identity card checks for verification and validation, the NSA, that is the National Service Authority, had blocked the enrollment of some 14,027 potential fraudsters on the scheme for the 2021-2022 service year. Despite these claims, when our current Minister of Finance, the Honorable Dr. KCL Atuforsen, ordered a head count of all National Service personnel as a precondition for the disbursement of arrears of allowances payable to the personnel dating back to August 2024, it was discovered that around 885 were ghost names. Our investigations have revealed a sprawling criminal enterprise whose network covers the entire country. This criminal enterprise was run by top-level executives of the National Service Authority and their accomplices in the private sector, known as vendors or service providers. This criminal enterprise resulted in the siphoning of huge sums of public funds into private pockets. In total, we can confirm from our evidence on the docket and from interrogations that a whopping 548,333,542 cedis and 65 pesos. That's how accurate. Service year, 21,613,962 cedis and 24 pesos was lost. In the 2020-2021 service year, 55,600,000 670,584 cedis and 32 pesos was siphoned. In the 2022-2023 service year, this is the one that is more surprising and very shocking, 350,926,977 cedis and 7 pesos were lost. No, 12 pesos was lost to the state. And then for the 2023-2024 service year, 32,881,157 and 7 pesos was lost to the Republic. In total, as I stated, we lost over 548 million Ghana cedis to the criminal enterprise perpetrated by these executives, these directors and staff, as well as the service providers in the marketplace. The criminal enterprise that resulted in the loss of this colossal sum of money to the state involved the creation of ghost names within the NSA payroll system, directors and staff, which they subsequently exploited to misappropriate state funds for their personal gain. This they did in direct collaboration with vendors and other accomplices. Ladies and gentlemen of the media, our investigations have revealed that prior to the commencement of each new service year, the directors would submit to Parliament for approval a budget figure representing the number of prospective service personnel for that particular service year. Consequently, or consistently, these figures were inflated by huge numbers. During the fiscal year, the directors will write to the Minister of Finance requesting permission to utilize excess funds allocated in the budget of the National Service Authority. Once authorized, the directors will transfer the funds into NSA's project account at the Agricultural Development Bank, and under the pretext of executing projects, will divert the funds into private pockets. Another criminal scheme hatched and exploited by the directors and staff is the deployment of ghost names onto the NSA system. Once deployed, the directors will then request that both ghost names and genuine names be transmitted by the head of accounts to the Ghana Interbank Payment and Settlement Systems, that is GIPS, for payment. These payments included payments to Eastwich cardholders procured for the fictitious National Service personnel. Our investigations compared monthly data of verified National Service personnel generated from the Central Management System and submitted to the NSA Accounts Office, and the data of the NSA personnel who were actually paid through the gift system for a period of 6 years. That is from 2018 to 2024. It was established that a total of 587,543 personnel were to be submitted to GIPS for payment of allowances. Meanwhile, data from GIPS showed that a total of 650,165 personnel were paid, indicating that 63,672 constituted ghost names. These consisted of the following categories of personnel. That is, National Service personnel who were blocked on the CMS system during the registration process. Then National Service personnel numbers that exist in the payment records but do not exist on the Central Management System. And then, of course, NSA or National Service volunteers, and then some management staff and marketplace vendors. Fellow countrymen and women, our investigators additionally established that some of the ghost names were added to the list submitted by vendors, representing the number of service personnel to whom they had supplied items or provided loan facilities, allegedly. When these vendors eventually received the payments, the directors and staff would then contact the vendors whose accounts had received payments, meet with them, and collect the additional money that had been added to the vendors' payments. For instance, we have conclusively established that after collecting these funds, Some of the suspects, such as Gezi, Nyako, and Othing, handed them over to suspect Osei Asibe Entry in cash, and on some occasions deposited the cash into his bank account. Osei Asibe was the Chief Executive, the Director General of the National Service Authority. Some directors, such as Gifty Owari Mensah, created and executed a meticulously detailed plan using NSP, National Service Personnel Allowances, as security to obtain a loan of 30,698,218 cedis, 69 pesos, from the Agricultural Development Bank, ADB, at an interest rate of 23%. She achieved these results by using other people's information to register a company called Blocks of Life Consult without their knowledge or permission. Subsequently, she presented Blocks of Life Consult through a middleman in the person of Maxwell Akwesi Ofori-Minta to an official of the Agricultural Development Bank, and enlisting her husband, Mr. Peter Mensah, a lawyer, to act as one of the directors or representative of the said company. She told ADB that the company specialized in supplying home appliances to national service personnel, and proposed that ADB finance the company to enable it to supply these items on hire purchase basis to the service personnel, with the NSA being responsible for handling the deductions and repayments. During the period, suspect Gifty was the acting director, Gifty Owari Mensah was the acting director of the authority. However, on the marketplace of the authority, there was no indication that Blocks of Life was a registered vendor. Within 2 service years, suspect Gifty Owari Mensah used a total of 9,934 ghost names to misappropriate the aforementioned funds. Investigation further established that after ADB transferred the funds into the account of the company, she subsequently transferred the funds into 4 different company accounts with the names of Amiacom, Scaffold, Oche, and Aristo Logistics and Trading. It was further established that suspect Gifty is a director of Amiacom, and Scaffold Company Limited belongs to suspect Abraham Gezi. That between 3rd March 2023 and 24th May 2024, suspect Gifty transferred 22,925,518 Ghana cedis and 69 pesos to Amiacom, 1 million Ghana cedis to Scaffold, 1,572,000 Ghana cedis to Oche, and 5,200,000 Ghana cedis to Aristo Logistics and Training. We have this on record. We have all the bank details. We have everything, in the docket. Investigations, however, established that Eric Nyako, from 2017 until April 2024, and Idrisu Ibn Abubakar, April 2024 to December 2024, were responsible for preparing and transmitting NSP payroll data to GIPS for payment of allowances with the approval of the former NSA Director Generals, Mustafa Yusuf, who is now an MP, Gifty Owari Abuaji, acting from February 2021 to September 2021, and Osei Asibe Entry, September 2021 to January 2025. Without their explicit authority, nothing was possible. In other words, all these transfers could not have taken place without the authorization of the chief executive officers and or the director general, depending on the nomenclature that was used to describe their roles. 2023 service year, a total of 8,256,000 Ghana cedis was deposited into an Eastwich account numbered 1177042059, which is registered in the name of suspect Osei Asibe. Investigations showed that he personally received these funds During a search at his residence, the aforementioned e-switch card was found, and we intend to tender it in evidence during the course of the trial. Ladies and gentlemen of the media, our investigations further revealed that another suspect, Haruna Maulaya of Al-Faida Ventures, a vendor in the marketplace, received a total of 21,306,272 Ghana cedis and 43 pesos into his account from 2017 to 2024. Suspect Rose Hamilton of Marine Ventures received a total of 50,750,923 Ghana cedis, 15 pesos into her account from 2017 to 2024. Suspect Isaac Asamani of Option Buy Ventures received a total of 11,458,686 Ghana cedis, 90 pesos into his account from 2027 to 2024. A total payment of 167,554,398 cedis and 50 pesos was made into the account of a savings and loan company, a savings and loan entity between 2019 and 2024. Suspect Sylvia Opari of Silsona, the names of the companies are very interesting. Silsona Ventures received a total payment of 10,746,634 Ghana cedis and 41 pesos into her account from 2021 to 2024. So Jacob Yosin of Inyasampo Ventures received a total payment of 19,199,638 Ghana cedis and 57 pesos into his account from 2021 to 2024. Suspects Philomena Atta and Stephen Kobina Jemfi of Brainwave Ventures received a total of 17,646,523 Ghana cedis and 80 pesos into their accounts from 2021 to 2024. Suspect Solomon Jomina of Alpharita Ventures received a total payment of 8,236,019 cedis and 67 pesos into his account from 2021 to 2024. Suspect Charles Ahiming of GH Ohetech Ventures received a total payment of 14,235,118 Ghana cedis and 14 pesos into his account from 2022 to 2024. Suspect Kweku Opari Agofa and Prince Agofa Awoku of Fralisa Ventures received a total payment of 9,011,164 and 35 Ghana cedis into their accounts from 2023 to 2024. However, none of the aforementioned vendors provided evidence to the investigative team or to myself to prove that the amounts of money they received corresponded to the items supplied or the loans supposedly made to the National Service personnel. Ladies and gentlemen of the media and my fellow countrymen and women, having concluded our investigations, we'll be filing charges against 12 suspects who worked as directors and staff of the NSA. I've already listed them, but for the abundance of doubt, let me mention them again. These are Mustafa Yusuf, a former executive director; Osea Sibe Entry, former director general; Gifty Owari Mensah, former deputy executive director; Kweku Oniyan, former deputy executive director for operations; Abraham Bismarck Gezi, former internal auditor; Kweku Dechi Eje, an accounts officer; Idrusu Ibn Abubakar, former head of accounts, Stephen Kobina Jemfi, who is, I've asked that he should be rearrested because we've discovered some new accounts that, contain some deposits, and so he was picked up this morning. So he is currently he's undergoing further interrogation. Koforidua, he's the Koforidua director, then Prince Agbofa Ewuku, a district director, and Jacob Yorsin, management information systems administrator in the northern region. We will also file charges against the following persons who are vendors on the marketplace on the central management system of the NSA in the Eastern, Greater Accra, and Ashanti regions. Isaac Osei Asamani, the owner of Stalwart Option Buy Ventures. Charles Ohomening, the owner of GH Ohek Ventures. Philomena Arthur, the owner of Brainwave Ventures. Rose Hamilton, the owner of Marine Ventures. Kweku Opare Agbofa, the owner of Franlisa Ventures. Solomon Jamina, the owner of Afarita Ventures. Haruna Mawulaya, the owner of Alfaida Enterprise. Sylvia Ntriwa Opare, the owner of Silsona Ventures. And then Peter Mensah, a legal practitioner and the husband of Gifty Oware Mensah. We have made the decision to enter into non-prosecution agreements with some of the persons who were involved in this criminal enterprise, especially the vendors, and these have agreed to provide compelling testimonies as witnesses for the prosecution. In this regard, we have agreed not to disclose their names or their details at this press briefing as part of the NPA, that is a non-prosecution agreement. Because this is going to inure to the efficiency of the prosecutions that will be mounted. And in every prosecutorial decision making, we have the discretion to take decisions that will inure to the benefit of the Republic. And we have decided in the office, together with the investigators, that some of the marketplace vendors and some other directors and staff who came to us may be serving as prosecution witnesses. Some of them offered to be prosecution witnesses, and we rejected their offers. They came, met with my deputy, we evaluated the evidence and thought that it will be inimical to the entire prosecutorial enterprise if we accepted their offers to serve as prosecution witness. So, given the numbers that we're offering to serve as witnesses, it can tell you where we are headed with this investigation. And when the trial starts, with this prosecution, when the trial starts, you'll get to know the evidence that we have meticulously gathered from February, when I took over the oral report and handed them over to NIB, to the present. Having provided this factual background, our position is clear that these persons are reasonably suspected to have committed crimes and shall be charged accordingly with the following crimes: stealing, contrary to Section 1241 of the Criminal Offences Act 1960, Act 29. Conspiracy to steal, contrary to Sections 23(1) and 124(1) of the Criminal and Other Offences Act. Willfully causing financial loss to the state, contrary to Section 179A(3)(a) of the Criminal and Other Offences Act. Using public office for profit, contrary to Section 179(c)(a) of the Criminal and Other Offences Act. Obtaining public property by false statements, contrary to Section 5 of the Public Property Protection Decree 1977, SMC 140. Money laundering, contrary to Section 1, subsection 2C of the Anti-Money Laundering Act 2020, Act 1044, and conspiracy to commit money laundering, contrary to Section 3 of the Anti-Money Laundering Act 2020, Act 1020. In conclusion, ladies and gentlemen, as part of the oral agenda, I have ordered that a comprehensive investigation of the assets of these persons be conducted. That investigation is ongoing, and we shall be pursuing the suspect to retrieve funds attributable to them and assets they have acquired using those funds. So I want to thank you very much once again for covering this press conference. God bless you. Yeah. Oh, okay.
All right, thank you very much, Honorable Attorney General. The floor is now open for some questions from members of the media. So as we do it, if you have a question, please put your hand up. I'll call you. You come forward, ask it, and then it will be answered. Each person is entitled to only one question in the interest of time. I thought I saw your hand up. So if you have a question, just come forward and ask it, please. So this way, yeah. Please come. Yeah, please go ahead.
Thank you. My name is Alfred Okanse. I work with Media Journal, TV3,
I need
3
you to step
FM.
forward so that the
Okay.
cameras can come.
First off, you earlier mentioned at the previous conference that there was a member of parliament who was contracted to, as it were, kill the story of this NSS scandal in the media. Any updates on that said member of parliament? Because I didn't hear anything in this updates that you gave. And the second one is that I get the point that you have put together all of these persons as well. Any indication of when prosecution will start? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Alfred. There was a second gentleman. Yes, please go ahead. Please step forward.
All right. My name is Job Kwabena Laboja. I work with the Tobinco Media Group, Bullet TV. Alfred asked my first question, which has to do with when are we going to see them being charged. And my concern is the mode of operation by the current Attorney General, which is your office. Many have argued that why come out to tell us all this when you can just go to court and then come and tell us what they have been charged with, and then we can all have confidence that you are really committed to dealing with this matter. That if you can respond to that for us, thank you.
Right. Thank you very much. Are there any other questions, please? All right, please step forward. Anybody who has a question. In the interest of time, we need to manage it.
Thank you very much. My name is Mutala Inusa. I work with the IB Network, GH1 TV, and Star FM. Honorable, my question is in respect of those suspects that you decided to accept their proposals and those that you do not accept. What specific criteria goes into whose offer do you accept and whose offer do you reject? Thank you.
Thank you very much.
My name is Joyce Danso. I write for the Ghana News Agency. I want the Attorney General to educate us on what exactly is non-prosecution agreement and then plea bargaining agreement. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you very much. Please go ahead. Ask your question.
Thank you for your brilliant presentation. To be very honest, if I knew this program, a national service, I wouldn't have struggled all the way from 25 to this place. But I came here purposely because of what was published on Aura. We have, as an organization, made a petition to Aura and wrote in a letter to you. My name is Solomon Kwaukume.
Excuse me, sir. If it is not related to national service, I would ask you to hold on. After this session, the Attorney General will grant you audience to listen to the specific petition that you have so that we can use the time judiciously. Thank you very much. You may resume your seat.
Okay.
Yeah. All right, so we'll take one last question in this round, after which the Attorney General will provide answers. Please help me.
Thank you very much. My name is Jude Duncan from CTFM Channel 1 TV. In February this year, the President mentioned that the assets of suspects in the National Service scandal had been frozen. In this very press briefing, you mentioned that their assets will be, sort of monitored. Your conclusion. I want updates as to whether indeed their assets have been frozen or whether you are still just, monitoring their financial flow. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So the Attorney General will answer these questions.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for your very wonderful, questions. The question in relation to the member of parliament who was, in the center of the investigation. There are two members of parliament who were investigated in this scandal. One was a former chief executive officer, the Honorable Mustafa Yusuf. And so in his case, we basically had the evidence, relating to that he had taken as the executive officer, and then we interrogated him. In the case of the famous A+, the investigation is still ongoing, and there are talks with him with respect to the role that he will play, either in respect of providing evidence against those who try to do what is alleged to have been done, or if no agreement is reached, then maybe he will have to stand trial. That is where we are with respect. So the investigations are ongoing. We haven't concluded with him yet. The investigators were supposed to go to Parliament and do the interrogation in Parliament, and at the last time that they made a request, they could not do the interrogation. Now, in terms of the timing of prosecution, there have been a number of developments that came in very late. So as late as yesterday in the evening, we met in the office with one of the principal actors who is offering, to provide us with evidence. In other words, the person wants a non-prosecution, agreement. So we've asked that the lawyer she should go, and she and the lawyers should go and then bring the to examine and then see what what can be done. Okay, so we are thinking that in the next 2 weeks we will be able to evaluate all of those proposals, including the fact that suspect Jamefi was rearrested. We'll have to look into the additional accounts, and then in the next 2 weeks we can deal with all those issues, and by the first week of July we should be filing charges against them. Now, someone asked why the press briefing. This is a I get all the time. The detractors of oral, that is those who do not want or are not enamored of the oral agenda, would usually say that this is persecution, a persecution of the suspects in the media, or prosecution of the suspects in the media. Now, the United States of America is one of the world's oldest democracy, okay? And U.S. prosecutors, district attorneys, or even the Attorney General of the United States of America, when they conclude investigations, they brief the press on their findings. Sometimes they file the charges and come out of the courtroom to brief the press on the charges that have been filed. There is nothing absolutely wrong with this. So those who think that accounting to the people, if you look at the meaning of the word accountability simply means to explain one's actions. And so we have a duty to account to the people of this country. And so when I'm taking prosecutorial decisions, people of our country for the decisions that are taken. So this is the whole essence of the exercise, and especially within the context of oral. We don't want any situation where we file charges and then we are being told that we have just decided to persecute people because of their political leanings. In all the press briefings that I have done, I have not mentioned or connected any political party to the actions of the people that, you know, I arrest and investigate. Okay? So the idea of doing this is not in order to make any political party look bad or any faction in our Ghanaian politics look bad. What we are doing is simply to account to the people of this country. And it doesn't matter how many times it is said, I will continue to, account to the people of this country through the press briefings that we, the press engagements that we do from time to time. Then, what are the criteria for an MPA? And then somebody asked, what is the difference between an MPA, that is a non-prosecution agreement, and a plea bargain? A non-prosecution agreement is an aspect of the plea bargain. A plea bargain is simply a negotiation between the prosecutor and a person suspected of the commission of a crime, okay, that may turn out to achieve a number of objectives. Okay, so sometimes you drop the charges in exchange for the payment of a fine or a penalty. Sometimes you drop the charges so that that person will serve as a witness, and because the person was proximate to the commission of the crime, they will have information that is compelling enough to prove your charges for you. All right? So we do plea bargaining, and one of the outcomes of a plea bargain may be an NPA, that is a non-prosecution agreement. Okay, so that means that when we sign the non-prosecution agreement, we usually would immunize that person, grant that person indemnity from prosecution on certain conditions, or, you know, sometimes unconditionally. Okay, so it is guided by, you know, some, considerations in the context of the prosecution itself, or the criminal justice system. And by the way, in Ghana, we have the Plea Bargain Act, which is an amendment to Act 30 that allows the Attorney General to enter into a plea deal. And by the way, just by way of public information, I have never, okay, and I want to repeat that, I have never approached anybody who is under prosecution now or who will be prosecuted for a plea deal. I've seen on social media allegations that I charge and then subsequently I'm asking the person for a plea deal. I'm always in my office quietly, and they send people to come to me and then seek, you know, audience as to whether I am amenable to a plea deal. All right, and until such a time that we achieve the plea deal, we normally don't announce it, you know, to the public. So that is what a bargain is, and then the MPA can be a result. That is, the non-prosecution agreement can be the result of plea negotiations. The last question was with respect to what His Excellency, the President, said regarding the freezing of assets. What we froze were their bank accounts. All right? What we froze were their bank accounts. Okay? But they may have other assets, such as houses, okay, apartment blocks, cars, and so on. Okay? Those are the subject matter of the investigation that is taking place now. And as I said in the first, press conference, which was on the Kwabena Edubohin, investigation, I said we normally do contemporaneous investigation of the crime, the criminal enterprise, as well as the, asset recovery. All right. So we are using the same approach now, but with this one, it is slower because of the fact that, you know, if once we begin the prosecution, you will understand that they were doing mostly cash transactions. Okay, someone will go and take the cash from the bank and then go and give it to one of the directors or one of the staff, and so on and so on and so forth. Okay, so unlike the previous investigation where the documentary trail was very easy, and then led us to certain assets that the person owned, because some of them were owned by his companies and so on. In this case, it is a bit different. That is why we have frozen the financial assets, that is the accounts, but we are still doing the investigation with respect to houses, cars, and so on. I hope that makes it very clear for the person who wanted to know the difference between what His Excellency said and then what I said in my press briefing. Thank you.
Yeah, so if there are any, please come forward. If there are any other questions, we will take them in this round, after which we will draw down the curtains on this session. So please identify yourself and ask your question.
My name is Clement from the Fourth Estate.
Your full name, please.
Clement Edward Kumsa from the Fourth Estate. The team want to find out, during our investigations, management said it's only Ghana card that can be used to validate a national service personnel on their platform. It appears the platform was easily manipulated and the ghost names were uploaded. We want to find out, in your prosecution, are those the developers of the platform parts or those you are prosecuting?
All right, thank you. Are there any other questions, please? Okay.
My name is Benis Bese. I report for the Chronicle, and I'm also a court reporter. We've seen the Dr. Opunin prosecution, how it went. It took almost 7 years. What is the timeline for this prosecution? Are we going to see it traveling or going on the long haul like 7 years, or the 4 years to go by when this prosecution has not ended? Because we've heard something that they are going to frustrate the case.
All right, thank you. Please pass it on to the next questioner.
My name is Vanessa Edotum Boateng.
Please come forward. Step forward.
Yeah. My name is Vanessa Edotum Boateng. I'm with Ignite Media Metro TV. So my question is, this is a lot of money, over 548 million. Are we going to recover all these monies? And it wouldn't just be that people are prosecuted, probably they go to jail, and that's it, because it's a lot of money and it can do a lot of things for the country. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So that will be it for the questions in this round, which is the final round, I must indicate. Honorable Attorney General, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much for the questions. The first one relates to the IT system and its vulnerability to manipulation. You are right about the fact that the IT system, from all that we have gathered, has been very, vulnerable and has been manipulated to foster the criminal enterprise that I am describing today. Now, the question whether the IT, the developer will be prosecuted is, for me, it's not a question that we should be asking. The reason is simply because it's a contractual, issue. Okay, so they have developed a system. If there are vulnerabilities in the system or it is deficient and is not fit for purpose, that's a contractual issue, and we can take that up and then sue them because the system was not fit for purpose. Now, if in the course of that we discover, for instance, that they deliberately set it up to be manipulated in this manner, then we can say that they are accomplices. Okay, but in the current circumstances, the IT management personnel who were the ones who manipulated the system for purposes of fostering the criminal enterprise are the ones that we are concentrating on now. Then the timeline for prosecution. Well, I have my prosecutorial plan laid out, okay? And I'm keenly aware of what defense lawyers can do, okay? I was, for many years, a defense lawyer myself, so I know their tricks. Remember the famous Tagore case I was the one who freed Tagore together with Kisi Ajabing from prison. So I know what to look for, what defense lawyers look for in, any prosecution. If you picked up, thank you for the intelligence that you have picked up, that they say that they and their lawyers will frustrate me. I have plans in place to avoid frustration. Okay? I know what I am doing. And together with my able deputy, we will make sure that the people of this country, because if they frustrate me, they are frustrating the people of this country. And as one of the questioners, said, 548 million is a lot of money. In fact, the president is thinking of a Accra-Kumasi expressway that will make it possible for, commuters to travel within, an hour to Kumasi. That 548 million, in my estimation, could have built that expressway. So yes, it is a lot of money, and that is why we are going to take the prosecution really very seriously. Look, if you have had 8 million Ghana cedis lodged into your account from public funds, and you say you frustrate the prosecutor, how are you going to do that? Supposing he didn't know, that's a different matter altogether. Or if you have your companies and public monies are flowing through your companies, and you cannot tell the prosecutor why those monies were being transferred to your company and they were being used for private purposes, and you say you frustrate the prosecutor, well, they should come with all the technicalities in the world. We are waiting for them. We are waiting for them in the courtroom. This is going to be a different ball game altogether. I'm not bragging, but it's going to be a different ball game altogether. So we will do our best, and thereafter, as for recovery, is an integral part of our strategy. Recovery is an integral part of our strategy. All right? The meaning of oral is Operation Recover or Loot. And so once we institute a prosecution in the context of oral, recovery is an integral part of it. We are not going to, leave any stone unturned. Can we recover everything? We may not be able to recover everything, but we will set up funds for this republic and for public use. So I thank you very much. God bless all of you, and see you at the next press briefing. Yeah.
News just in: MP for Yagbaba Kubori Yusuf Mustafa and 11 others to face the law for their alleged roles leading to the loss of over 500 million cedis in what the AG calls a criminal enterprise. Also to come, Ghana registered nurses and midwives suspend their 12-day strike. Plus, government ends YEA contract with Zoomlion. This afternoon, we find out if sanitation will be affected by this move. You're watching News Central. I'm Kemeni Amano. The news starts right now. Us a bit more from what the AG has been telling us. Alfred, summarize for us what we've heard from the AG today. Well, while Alfred readies to speak to us, we know that so far the AG says they are readying for prosecution. And speaking of prosecution, at this time, he says that they have rejected offers from some of the suspects to turn themselves in as prosecution witness. At this time, you also know he's described the scandal as a criminal enterprise that took place over a period of 5 years, 2017 to 2024, led by the executive director, Yusuf Mustafa, who's now a member of parliament for Yagaba Kobori. The AG alleges that in the case of the executive director, there is evidence relating to the amount or the money he allegedly took from the scheme. He's ordered that there is an audit of their assets as investigations continue into the happenings there. We'll bring you more when we get in touch with Alfred Okanse, because the Attorney General has been detailing a number of things that have been done so far, including whether or not those monies will be recovered from the assets audit and the frozen bank accounts at this time. We also know that one of the suspects will be arrested because the AG has ordered for his rearrest because they have discovered another crime he allegedly has committed. Now, in the meantime, let's turn attention to health, because we know this afternoon the Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives Association has suspended its nationwide strike. The association took the decision after its National Executive Council last night. I'll tell you more about this, but Alfred is ready for us. Alfred, what else has the AG been talking about? Oh, my understanding is... Alfred, go ahead. We can hear you. Well, Alfred Okanse is our man on the ground covering this news conference by the Attorney General. If you're just joining us, this is News Central. Right now, we know that 12 suspects or 12 people of interest, persons of interest.
The press center where the Attorney General, Minister of Justice, Dr. Dominic Ayine, has been updating the nation essentially on the investigation so far into the National Service ghost names scandal. And a number of things came to the fore today, Kemene. Over the last 1 hour, we've been hearing some detail of the investigation so far into this National Service scandal. One of the sticky points, at least for now, we have further and better particulars on the said Member of Parliament who was allegedly bribed to kill this story in the media. As was earlier reported, if you recall, the Attorney General himself at a previous press conference did indicate that a Member of Parliament was allegedly bribed to kill this National Service scandal, ghost name scandal story in the media. Today, after I asked that question of exactly who this person is, then we got to know some further confirmation that we're talking about Kwame Asare-Obeng, the Member of Parliament for the Goma Central constituency. I'm talking about A+. He did indicate that, yes, he is being investigated for the said allegation and other related matters as well. And then also he will either be serving as a prosecution witness to support and also give some further details to the prosecutions, that's the charges that they are pressing against these 12 individuals that we got to know today. If no agreement is reached for him to serve as a prosecution witness, then he may have to also stand trial. That's according to the Attorney General. So that's information that we have right now. Apart from him, I'm talking about Kwame Asare-Obeng A+. We also got to know that the other Member of Parliament who is involved is the former CEO of the National Service Authority, in the person of Mustafa Yusuf, who is the Yagaba Kobori Member of Parliament. He served as the Director General of the National Service Authority for a period. And he is also one of 12 persons whom, according to the Attorney General, Minister of Justice, he is going to, or they're going to be charged with a number of charges that he read today. Apart from him, there are other individuals like Osei Asibe, the immediate past Director General of the authority, and then also Gifty Owari Mensah, who has also been in the news. We recall that she was also interrogated at some point, some 3 months ago. And then also, according to the Attorney General today, there's been some detail about how she allegedly ran a well-calculated scheme, according to how the Attorney General put it, and then was able to use the National Service personnel data to secure and obtain a loan of over 30.6 million Ghana cedis from the ADB, and then through that also was able to, as it were, register a company with the name Blocks of Life Consult, and then she got this loan of over 30.6 million with a 23% interest rate, and then registered a company that had her husband, Peter Mensah, who is also a private legal practitioner, as one of the directors as well, and linked to other companies that were established by her to allegedly run this particular scheme. She's not alone in this. According to the Attorney General, there are a number of market agents who are also being investigated as a result of this, all of them numbering about 12. Now, according to the Attorney General, according to the details they have with the investigation they've been conducting since January up until now, over 548 million cedis in total has been lost to this National Service scheme, the Ghost Names scandal, over 548 million Ghana cedis. He broke it down that for the 2017-2018 service period, 25 million cedis and over was said to have been lost. In the 2018-2019 service period, over 21.6 million cedis was also recorded as the money that was lost to this Ghost Name scandal. In the 2021-2022 academic period, for the service period, over 55.6 million was lost to this National Service Ghost Name scandal. For the 2022-2023 service period, and that is the highest, Kemeni, over 350.9 million cedis was lost to this Ghost Name scandal in the National Service scheme, over 350 million. And he explains that that particular year, there were a number of things as well that this whole cartel put together to siphon that much money, registering a lot more companies that then also linked to some data of the National Service personnel who were either rejected at the point of registration, but then they had put in their numbers. So they used those numbers to, as it were, pursue this particular scheme that they had put together. And then for the 2023-2024 service year, 32.8 million and over was lost to this scandal, according to the details that the Attorney General gave today. These are the charges, Kemeni, that he is going to press against these 12 individuals. Stealing, contrary to Section 1241, and then also conspiracy to steal, willfully causing financial loss to the state, and then also conspiracy to commit money laundering, and then also using public office for private gain. These are the charges that the Attorney General is going to press against these individuals who have been named as the collaborators and the perpetrators in these Ghost Names alleged National Service Authority Ghost Name scandal. So we're keeping an eye on how things are playing out. The Attorney General is quite clear in his mind that the state has a case and there are timelines they're going to work with to ensure that this trial is pursued in a very timeous manner to ensure that the money is retrieved. And he indicated that recovery is an integral part of the strategy of the Operation Recover or Loot. So this is the update the Attorney General gave in this ongoing investigation into the National Service Authority Ghost Name scandal. Cabinet.
Indeed, Alfred, if you can hear me, we also know that he talked about the issue of recoveries, which you just mentioned, that he would ensure that the monies will be returned. But then he also said that he does not think that everything could be recovered. What did he mean by that?
Well, he had indicated that a number of them had also used the monies to, as it were, invest in other things. Property, they're looking at some cars as well that could be confiscated as well, some accounts that have been frozen. But then again, for as long as he is concerned, this amount, and he indicated this could be more. This is what they have identified so far. But the money could be more because this is an ongoing investigation. It's not ended even after this particular update because of the investments or some of the avenues that this money has been put in. It could prove difficult to recover. And that's why he indicated that it may be difficult to retrieve within the shortest possible time. But then that does not also belabor the point that the recovery is a central focus of this entire operation that they have put together, because the amount involved, over 548 million Ghana cedis, is huge. He's indicated a number of things, a number of projects that money could be used for, and that is what they're going to be pursuing. Kemeni.
And then he also said that he had rejected negotiations for some of the suspects to attend prosecution witness. What explanation did he give for that?
He had indicated, first of all, that there was some news in the media that he was approaching some persons to, as it were, talk them into agreeing to serve as prosecution witnesses and some sort of agreement with them. He indicated he has never met any such individual or suspects after naming them and then now going backdoor to engage them to be prosecution witnesses. He says that has never happened. He has never approached any of them to come to a sort of agreement or a plea with them. It is some of these individuals who are suspects who are sending people to his office to, as it were, reach an agreement with his office to avoid prosecution. So that is what is happening. And it's also indicated that some of the staff and directors of the National Service Authority came to his office to get some sort of agreement, the non-prosecution agreement with him. But when they assessed the details of the information that they gave, they indicated that it cannot be possible. They have to also go through prosecution because their involvement is extensive, or was extensive to the extent that they cannot necessarily have that agreement and then escape prosecution because they want to serve as prosecution witnesses. Some of them, the Attorney General had to apply discretion in assessing the information that they gave, indicated that they cannot serve as prosecution witnesses. They would have to rather go through prosecution. Kemeni.
I see. And then there is the issue of Gift Awari. She's not only a person of interest in this, but also generates a lot of conversation around the NSS scandal, as we have come to call it. The AG elaborates exactly what her alleged role in this is. Talk to us about that.
Well, he indicated, the Attorney General indicated that, as I mentioned earlier, Gift Awari Mensah, as she's known, Mrs. Gift Awari Mensah, according to the Attorney General, the investigation that they have had, and then also information so far from the investigation, is that she allegedly secured or obtained a loan of over 30.6 million Ghana cedis from the ADB with an interest of 23% using the data of some national service personnel. And then she also established a number of companies. One he mentioned as the Block of Life Consult, which had her husband named Peter Mensah, a private legal practitioner, as one of the directors. And the monies were allegedly, according to the Attorney General, diverted into the accounts of this particular company and other companies as well. And when the monies got in there into the account of this said company, the market agents who also served as collaborators in this entire scheme would also receive their share after the monies were paid to these said ghost names or non-existent national service persons. Also, quite apart from the ghost names, according to the Attorney General, the National Service Authority put some projects in their yearly proposals to Parliament. And when these projects were approved and monies allocated to the said projects, those monies are then diverted into private accounts and not used for the execution of the said project. So the monies we're talking about did not accrue only as a result of the ghost names, but also some monies that were allocated to the National Service Authority to execute projects that were never done. Kemini.
Indeed, Alfred. And then finally, we know he talked about prosecution. Did he give an actual day or date when prosecution will begin? For instance, starting with applying the charges.
Kemini, if you come again, I didn't hear that.
Well, I'm asking, did he give an actual date when some proper concrete moves will be done in respect to the charges that he had announced?
Well, I asked that question about when prosecution is going to start. He indicated that, yes, they've done their work. They're confident about the information they've gotten so far from the investigation that they have done. They're confident that they are going to, in fact, they have a case to prosecute. But then again, as we do know, prosecution is not a walk in the park in such cases. And so they're going to start as soon as possible. They will prefer these charges and put these persons before court. He didn't give specific date or timelines to it, but the answer he gave to that second question I asked is that they're going to do this as soon as possible after this update that has been given today. Kemini.
Indeed, Alfred, we'll leave it here. Thank you so much for talking to us. Alfred Okanse is a man on the ground. He covered that very important news conference by the Attorney General, and also revealing, I must say, the Attorney General in that news conference has been detailing, giving us further details on that NSS scandal and the investigations so far. We'll keep an eye on the story for you here on News Central. We'll turn attention to the nurses. Remember when I told you that the members of the Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives Association have suspended their nationwide strike. Now, the association took the decision after its National Executive Council met last night. The association has since directed its members to resume work tomorrow, Saturday, June 14, 2025.
Good morning, fellow colleagues. Our dear nurses and midwives. Good morning to our employer. Good morning to the Parliamentary Select Committee on Health. A very good morning to all Ghanaians. This is a press release on the suspension of our GRNMA strike. The leadership of the Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives Association embarked on a roadmap of industrial actions on 2nd June 2025 with the wearing of red arm/headbands, followed by withdrawal of outpatient department and emergency services, which culminated into the total withdrawal of all nursing and midwifery services on 9th June 2025. Our demand from our employer was simply to have the collective agreement of Ghanaian nurses and midwives, which was signed in May 2024, duly implemented without any further delay. Having monitored the misinformation, disinformation, and the propaganda that have surrounded our strike action, the leadership of the association would like to set some records straight on the following. 1. We are nurses and midwives, trained to provide essential health services to the Ghanaian population, and matters affecting us which are brought formally to the attention of the employer must be treated with the urgency it deserves and in good faith. 2. As nurses and midwives, we do not take delight in seeing our patients suffer. However, we cannot take good care of others when the system does not take good care of us. 3. The GRNMA is a non-partisan professional association and trade union, and the holder of the collective bargaining certificate covering all nurses and midwives in Ghana. In its 65 years of existence, the Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives Association has never aligned with any political party in Ghana. Rather, it has worked with every government since 1960 in building a stronger and more resilient health system responsive to the health needs of Ghanaians, whilst at the same time, we representing the interests of nurses and midwives in matters related to their welfare and general working conditions. Considering all that has transpired from 2nd June 2025 in relation to the pleas of the good people of Ghana, pleas from our patients, and the timely intervention of the Parliamentary Select Committee on Health, the leadership of the association wishes to state as follows. The engagement held with the Parliamentary Select Committee on Health and other interested parties on Thursday, 12 June 2025, was very fruitful and has paved the way for an amicable resolution of the impasse with our employer concerning the implementation of our collective agreements. 2. In view of point 1 above, the Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives Association's industrial action initiated on 2nd June 2025 is hereby suspended, pending the outcome of the follow-up meeting scheduled for 26 June 2025.
We've just heard from the president of the Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives Association, Perpetual Ofori Ampo, for suspending that 2-week-long strike across the country. We'll begin our coverage checking reactions all over the country in the northern region, where some people have already started reacting to the suspension announcement we just heard from the GRNMA. Let's take a listen to those reactions from the northern region.
Well, the feeling is a mixed feeling, because there was a reason why the strike action was taken, and now what they are saying is that they are calling off the strike. That is fine. The issues we have is that for now we cannot comment on anything until they give a final communique on the outcome of their meeting with the government. But for now, during the strike, many people didn't know there was a strike, so they kept on coming, and some few staffs were at post, and so there was pressure on them. And later, when the committee or the committee member also got to know that now there was a strike, they always come with complaints, but then we were not able to attend to all of them. Now that they've called out the strike, I think it will help, because they are our own people that we are serving, and we are committed to offering our services to everyone, no matter what. So now that they said the strike is no more, we are very happy, because it could be our brothers, our sisters, our aunties and friends and whoever. So we are happy that at least we can deliver health care to our people without any warning or any attack from other colleagues.
We're all jubilating here. We are very happy for what has just happened. I think it's a welcome news. We can see there were a lot of stress on the UPNG staffs who are working with us. But at a point we realized that they were also deficient in taking care of the clients, because their numbers are not so encouraging. But I think they did well, because no client came here without being attended to. So I have.
Let's connect with Christopher Amwako, who covers the Savannah and northern regions for us on this subject after the suspension of the strike. Christopher, you talk to us. Hospital management must be relieved at this time.
Yes, so Kamini, when I visited some of the hospitals, the patients and actually our hospital management were very happy that the strike had been suspended by the Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives Association. They are hoping that by tomorrow they will get back to work as indicated by their leadership so that together they can deliver quality healthcare services. But one issue, Kemini, is that even till now, the hospitals still remain very, very empty, putting pressure on private hospitals in the greater Tamale metropolis. I visited the Tamale Central Hospital, which is also the Northern Regional Hospital, as well as the West Hospital. And these two hospitals did not have more patients trooping to the facility as we used to see before the strike. And so we are hoping that by tomorrow, the people will get to know that the strike has been called off for them to begin to visit these health facilities. But I must admit that this has actually had a toll on healthcare delivery in the government hospitals and other facilities.
Very well, Christopher, we'll leave it here. Thank you so much for talking to us. Christopher Mwako is our Northern and Savannah regions correspondent. We can now connect with former president of the Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives Association, Dr. Kweku Asante-Krabea, for more on this decision by the leadership of GRNMA. Doc, good afternoon to you. How does the suspension come to you?
A great relief to everyone, even to the striking nurses and midwives themselves. And the general population of Ghanaians are happy for it.
Which also gives government a bit more time to deal with the demands that are being made by the the nurses and midwives who have now called off their strike. What's your best advice to the government on how to proceed on this implementation process?
Well, we are all hoping that the government will do justice to their promise. But let me commend the Parliamentary Select Committee on Health for the timely intervention, which is what the striking nurses and midwives have been expecting all this while, that they could get people who care and hold an ambivalent position on the matter. And it just came at a time when it was needful. But I urge government not to renege on their promise, the government and the employers not to renege on their promise of quickly meeting the needs of the nurses and midwives fraternity. I do not think that going forward, the government will toy with the lives of Ghanaians by not caring for the needs of the nurses who are always prepared to offer service to humanity, and especially the Ghanaian population. So we'll be watching, we'll be monitoring, we'll be holding ourselves in readiness and preparedness to receive what the employer is going to come up with. I hope, and I do hope very well, that it's not going to be there's something that would disturb the hopes and then put the nurses on the line again.
Indeed. Two things we learned from this 12-day strike we experienced in this country. One, the internal conflict among the health workers. And then the second one, what appears to be mistrust between the government or the new government and the GRNMA, of course, given the circumstances that a different government agreed to the content of the conditions of service documents. The problem now, or the concern now, will be to avoid a similar situation and mend the cracks that appear to have opened wide with the, among the health workers. What would be your advice to them in dealing with that, and also generally on how to avoid this, prevent this from happening again?
I do not expect that pitfalls will arise again. The matter about we have inherited a burden is thrown onto us or handed over to us because we are a new government, will not be taken as an excuse anymore, because I am privy to the content of the conditions of service. because it was during our time we managed to put together the points and the needed concerns of the nurses and midwives before we left office, and that what was later put together as a complete document for conditions of service was an outcome of what we did. I'm privy to it, and it suggests to me that the government was very much aware of what was in the document, because prior to the strike action, which was consequential to the breakdown of the negotiations, the government, the new government, and the Ministry of Health, for that matter, had promised that they were going to put the concerns of the nurses and midwives into factor that into the budget before it was actually, the budget was actually proposed, read, and approved in Parliament. So that is why many of us were left wondering why it couldn't be implemented by government. So I know that the Ministry of Health now has been awoken to their sleep, that they are not going to continue the complicity that held the nurses' interests at bay. So I know, for all intents and purposes, the Honorable Minister of Health will not sleep on the matter any longer. Very soon, we know that the nurses are going to receive what they are asking for. It should not be a problem at all.
And then there will be the second part on mending the cracks that we have seen amongst the nurses and midwives.
Of course, if you're talking about cracks, probably you are referring to the disconnects between the Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives Association and the fragmented groups. If that is what you are talking about, I know for sure that the Council of the Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives Association will be able to resolve the matter amicably, and they are all going to don't forget that those groups that broke away from the Mother Association are also going to be beneficiaries of what was going to be implemented, and I'm sure that the cracks they are going to bring fast solutions themselves to the matter where the cracks could be mended. But remember also that the interests of patients are very, very important. Nurses, there must be the interests of the nurses and midwives must be held in high regard. There should no longer be a situation where the nurses and midwives' interests will be undermined. And the Minister of Health must know that they carry the hope of profound outcome of healthcare delivery in the country. And if they treat nurses and midwives with the respect that is required, everybody will be satisfied. There will be peace at the labor front, and patients are going to get what they want.
Indeed.
That is my view, because Honorable Minister of Health has taken the shots of within the period that the nurses and midwives were on strike, and it should be a lesson to him.
Very well. We'll leave it here. Thank you so much for talking to us. Dr. Kweku Asante-Korobia is a former president of the Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives Association. Still on the subject, you already know that the striking nurses have suspended their industrial action, promising to resume work on Saturday. The news has brought a major relief to some residents of the Ashanti region. Our team in the second largest region of this country visited the Obuasi Government Hospital just to find out from patients and staff their opinions about the latest development.
This morning that I also heard that nurses have called off the strike. for some few days now. In fact, I have also realized that patients have suffered within this period. So I was only praying out. They will just say, one day I'll get up and they will say, oh, we have called off the strike. And indeed, they have done that. So I'm only happy and happy for my patients. And they should also support us whilst we are seeking for a condition of service. It will just boost us to put up our best for the nation as a whole. And we are also telling our patients to come in their numbers because we are here.
You're still watching News Central Live on TV3. I'm Kemeni Amano. We'll take a quick break. When we come back, we'll bring you more news. Now, the overlord of Dagmo, Yana Abubakar II, is paying a historic visit to the seat of government, the first time since the President, John Mahama, was sworn into office. The meeting is an official one by the Dagmo overlord to congratulate the President on his assumption of higher office as President.
Economic transformation program, over 10,000 hectares of irrigated land is to be developed in the Nasia, Dungu, and Bulung program areas. This project is expected to create jobs for over 8,000 young farmers and boost the production of rice, maize, and soybean. We're targeting 3 crops. Over 5,000 youths from the northern region are expected to be trained in employable skills such as carpentry, welding, tailoring, shea butter processing, and agribusiness. These efforts align with our broader vision of the 24-hour economy strategy, which will provide new job opportunities and extended business hours across agro-processing, logistics, and community services. I look forward to launching a pilot 24-hour economic zone in the northern region. The northern region cannot remain a symbol of poverty while being a source of national pride. To this end, the Community Infrastructure Development Fund, launched in 2025, will finance water and sanitation projects in 50 underserved communities in Dagbon. These include Patinga, Lungni, Nakwanduri, while small town water systems are planned for Willensi and Bimbilan. The Yendi water supply system will also be executed.
The swift action taken to revitalize our economy and improve the lives of Ghanaians are truly commendable. Your dedication to the welfare of Ghanaians is evident in the policies and initiatives that have been rolled out, and I have no doubt that your leadership will bring about transformative change that will benefit our nation for generations to come. The drastic drop in the dollar exchange rate from 17 cedis to 11 cedis in less than 6 months is a remarkable achievement that speaks volumes about your administrative commitment to prudent economic management. This significant reduction is not merely a numbers game. It reflects a deliberate effort to stabilize the economy, boost confidence in the cedi, and create a favorable environment for investment and growth. The leaner cabinet you have established is a shining example of your dedication to efficient governance. By strengthening the cabinet and reducing the number of ministers and presidential staffers, you have demonstrated a commitment to eliminating redundancy, enhancing productivity, and ensuring that resources are allocated where they are needed most. This bold move sets a positive tone for your administration and underscores your resolve to lead a government that is of the people, by the people, and for the people.
Well, that's how we end today's broadcast. Thank you so much for your company. I'm Kemini Amano. Next is Reality Catch Up. I'll see you some other time. Bye-bye.